everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lizzie and today's video is so excited. I've been planning this video for a little while now and I'm actually ready to film it, talk about it. We are going to be ranking all of the I Heart Revolution Tasty palettes. Please excuse the really bad application of my lipsticks because I've just filmed a lip swatch video, so it's all over the place. But we have, and to be fair, this really hurt me lifting it up for the thumbnail, all the Tasty palettes. We will be talking about my favourites. We're ranking them from bottom to top, so I'll talk about my least favourite to my favourite. So there is 14 palettes and we're gonna rank them from 14 to 1. So in last place, you guys might know this, it's the Tasty Peach palette. Now some people are gonna come at me because I know that Alex really likes this palette, but I struggled first time round with this palette. Then I tried it again and it wasn't too bad, don't get me wrong. And the palette packaging is nice, but it was like the worst palette that I'd ever tried from the Tasty range. Like, the colours are absolutely gorgeous in there. It's a really pinky, peachy tone palette. All the foils in these palettes are very crumbly. But it was just one of those palettes that I really struggled with and is why it's going to be in last place for me, sadly. 13th place, again, might not be a surprise. We have the Tasty Pumpkin Spice Latte. This palette has so much potential, like absolutely a lot of potential to go further than what they did with it because it's an all shimmer palette. Packaging, again, cute. I love the packaging on it. And I just love the coffee range from the Tasty palette collection. But it's all shimmers, all shimmers. I don't have anything against the shimmers worked perfectly well. They glided on really well when I used them, but the potential this palette had to add to the coffee range, because you have the mini latte palette, mini espresso palette, you have the latte, you have the coffee palette. This would have been like the best to add to that collection, and I did buy it ASAP when it came out, but I was so sad that this palette was all shimmers. Like, it could have been such a good palette. They could have just literally used all these colours that are on the packaging for inspiration: an orange, a pink, a purple, green, red, rich autumn colours, but they didn't. They went all shimmer heavy, and sadly it is ranked 13 in my video. Now the next one is ranked at number 12 just because I don't actually have that much love for it or that much hate for it. Well, not hate, but dislike for it. It's one of those palettes where I'm like, I never really thought about it. And it's the pizza palette. It's one of those palettes where you're like, oh okay, I forgot about this. It wasn't on my radar, completely forgot about it. This is what the inside looks like. It's lovely. It's like a honey based kind of colour story to it. This shade here, Neapolitan, is really nice. It's like a nice blue brown kind of pigment, but I don't reach for it. It's one of those that is really nice, but I've forgotten about it, and that is why it's ranked number 12. Packaging, again, gorgeous. I love the sliced pizza, love that it's animated, but it's just one of those palettes that I was like, oh my god, I forgot I had this. Works really well. It's got lovely mattes in there. The names of the shades are really nice: Chicago, mozzarella, calzone, pepperoni, margarita, Neapolitan, extra cheese. Really lovely names. Everything relates to pizza in this. The packaging relates to pizza. But you know, it's like one of those things. I know I have a lot in my collection. I have a lot. Everyone will tell me that. I will tell myself that. I don't mind. I'm a collector. But I forgot about this palette, and I don't tend to forget about things in my collection. I'm quite good at knowing what is in my collection. But this, sadly, I did forget about. So I have ranked it at number 12. And again, number 11 is the Watermelon palette. Nothing against this palette. It is literally because I kind of forgot about it too. I was really happy when it came out because they came out with a whole watermelon range. I love the primer from the range. I love the lip scrubs from the range and the lip mask. But I don't reach for this palette, and I feel like I've got these colours in other palettes. It's a really gorgeous package in there. It's pink, it's green. I love the mixture of pink and green, and that's what I'm kind of going for in my room at the moment. I've got like a green feature wall, and I want to put like some pink in there. Got some lovely mattes in there that I'll really reach for. Like, it's not just watermelon based, like you could do a lovely neutral eye with this as well as like pops of colour, and I love a neutral eye with a pop of blue. Really makes brown eyes stand out, but it's just something I completely forgot about. And I was so hyped when it came out and really did like it. Sorry, I hate when my hair touches my face because it feels stuck sometimes. I love the colours. The one colour that really love the most is this shade here called Drench. I love that shade. As soon as I opened this palette, I knew I had to use that shade Drench in my eye look. But it's not something I reach for, so I did have to rank it a little bit lower than the rest of them. Number 10 is at number 10, just because, again, the hot dog palette, it's not up there with my top. It's not up there, but I do really like this palette. It's the hot dog palette, and I really enjoyed playing with this. It's really nice bright orange packaging. It's got the So Tasty hot dog on the front. You can't go wrong with that. But I felt like for this palette, I had all these colours in other palettes. It is a little bit more unique because like it has got these mustard shades there, and obviously one of them is called mustard because it's a hot dog palette. It's got some nice golds and bronze in there. Like, I don't dislike this palette whatsoever, but I did have to rank it a little bit lower because I feel like there's other palettes that have this layout or have these shades in that I prefer than the hot dog palette. This one, it's got so many mattes compared to shimmers as well, so they did do really well with the matte to shimmer ratio, but I don't reach for it that often again. But the hot dog palette is a stunning palette, and you can use these colours every day, or you can come out with like a nice smoky eye look that will look fantastic on everyone. Number 9, it is the gingerbread palette. This came out with this year's chocolate tin vault. It is a stunning palette. I could have ranked this as number 1 just because of the packaging. I absolutely love the gingerbread. I love the packaging. It's a bit more like comes out, so it's a bit more 3D. I love this palette, absolutely love this palette. I've got nothing against it. Green packaging, it really is nice. Not many shimmers, mattes in there, because I feel like Revolution have taken a step back from having really matte heavy palettes, and now they're really shimmer heavy palettes. It's gorgeous, it's absolutely gorgeous, but again, I feel like I have these shades in other palettes. It's got green, it's got brown, it's got red, it's got a lovely array of colours. The shimmers in this palette were not as crumbly as some of the other palettes, I must admit, in this palette, and the shimmers are a better formula for me. But I think it's the colour story, and the colour story for me is not that it's not my favourite, is I've again got these shades in my favourite palettes. Number 8, we have again the other palette, which is the pumpkin pie palette from the chocolate tin vault that came out this year. Lovely packaging. I absolutely love the pumpkins, pumpkin pie. I am more of a sweet potato pie type person. I'm not really a lover of pumpkin. Let me know, pumpkin or sweet potato down below, because I love sweet potato pie. My dad makes an amazing sweet potato pie. But this, I haven't used it just yet, I don't believe, because I haven't got round to it for this Christmas, but I will hopefully by the end of December have used this. It is gorgeous, it is stunning. I haven't used the colours just yet, but I feel like how the gingerbread performed, this will perform really well. It's got purple in there, it's got a black in there, it's got a really nice beigey cream colour in there, so some people really love it because there's a black and a cream. It's just, again, it's not my favourite. My favourite is coming up. It's got this lovely like blue colour in there, like a gunmetal silver kind of colour. I just love it, I do love it. It's got so many different like bronzy golds, an icy gold, a bronzier colour, a greeny gold, like all the golds that I could wish for are in this palette. So I am very excited to get my hands on this and actually play with it soon. It is a stunning palette, and I have nothing against it. In 7th place is a palette that I absolutely love. When it came out, and it came out with the pizza and I think the popcorn palette, is the chili palette. I love this palette, I really do. The packaging is gorgeous, I love the red on it. When it came out, it spoke to me more than the other 2 palettes did, and I think this is why I've ranked it a bit higher than the pizza and the popcorn. I really did love this one. We'll talk about the popcorn soon. It's gorgeous. It is really nice. You've got like a purple in there, which okay, doesn't really make sense because there's not really a purple layout in here, but you could use that as a pop of colour on your lash line, or you could use it to purple up the look a little bit more. You've got this blue here. You've got lovely colours. You've got this shade called Hot Sauce, which is orange. You've got Chipotle, Contest Fire, Red Hot, Extra 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 Hot, Inferno Fire. I love this palette, absolutely love it. When I did a look with it, I was in love with it. It is more like a warmer tone palette, but it's not too in your face. You know, some of really bright warm tone palettes, it's not that bright. I love it. And you got like some cool tone browns in there as well if you don't want it too warm. I am more of a cooler tone person when it comes to makeup, she says when she's got bright pinks on today. Number 6. This is a new addition this year. It is the Coconut palette. Love this palette, absolutely love it. When I did a look with it, I fell in love with this palette over and over and over again. The colour of the packaging, look at that colour. It's such a nice spring-like colour. Again, the coconuts look really nice. If I had to choose between this and the watermelon, I would absolutely choose this. Not many mattes, but more mattes than some of their other palettes. Again, the shimmers in this were very foily and crumbly, but they are stunning. Sorry, I got hiccups now. Stunning, absolutely stunning. This has just got such a nice colour layout. It's really spring-like, but I think it came out more towards summer. I can't remember. Absolutely love this palette. Like, I love the Tasty range. It is my all-time favourite iHeart range just because there's a lot of like pros to this range. It's got very good pigmentation. The palette packaging is gorgeous, and I'm never ever, except for that peach palette, ever dissatisfied by a Tasty palette. And it really, like, if I see that there's a new Tasty palette, I grab it ASAP. I love it. I absolutely love this Tasty range, and I just love the colour of this coconut one. We are up to my top 5. Coming in at number 5, we did speak about this briefly earlier, is the Tasty Popcorn palette. I really love this palette when it came out, just that little bit more than the chili. I know the chili one snapped me straight away, but as soon as I used the popcorn palette, I was pretty impressed with it. Packaging, again, gorgeous. This lovely rich purple, like bluey purple colour on the outside. But the colours speak to me so much more. I love darker tones, and I love a good dark smoky eye, and this is what you can get from the popcorn palette, is a nice rich blue kind of smoky eye, hint of purple in there. You've got this kind of pastel mint green down the bottom here, which isn't too bad. It's got lovely colours, very cool tone, which is very me. There's a lot of shimmers in there that I really would reach for. You've got this blue, which would be nice for summer, but you could also put it on the lash line. Everything about this palette, love it. Coming in at 4th is actually what I'm wearing today and will be up this week. This is the Tasty Marshmallow palette. I've put this as 4 because of the packaging. The packaging is the best kind of packaging ever for a Christmas Tasty palette. It was a whole collection, and I felt like this packaging tied the whole collection together. I love the purple. It's funny how you can make a shade like purple that's really lilac-y be more of a Christmas shade, and this collection was so nice. Like, this is a Christmas collection, and I've created a look that I could wear in summer. I've created a look that I can wear in winter. Absolutely love it. It worked so well. I didn't have any issues with this palette whatsoever. It's got 4 mattes in, so it would never be my top 1. There's not enough mattes in here, but it did work brilliantly when I used it, and it's got so many lovely shades in here. But I more put it at 4 for the packaging. Just look at that. Just for a second, pause the video and just look at the packaging. It's the Marshmallow Wonderland palette. I just call it Tasty Marshmallow Collection, but it's the Marshmallow Wonderland palette. It's so gorgeous. Number 3. I wonder if you guys can guess what's number 3. There's a colour scheme that I absolutely enjoy. Green. And this palette, when it came out, I wasn't when I saw it, I didn't think I was gonna love it that much, but when I used it, I fell in love with greens. This was one palette that, other than the child palette from Colourpop, that made me really love greens. It's the avocado palette. I absolutely adore avocados. I enjoy eating them all the time, but just look at this. It's so stunning. It's an amazing green palette. There's so many mattes compared to some of their other palettes. There's 8 mattes and 10 shimmers, so still shimmer heavy, but you can create a neutral look, you can create a green look with this, you can create something a bit more blue with this shade down here. I love it. The names: Toast, Avo, California, Smoothie, Half, Guacamole, Brunch, Green Gold. I love green golds. Green golds are amazing. If you ever, I didn't want to swatch too much in this video, but a green gold shade, they really suit a lot of skin colours. It's one of my favourite colours to work with, and greens is one of my favourite colour schemes other than neutral. We've got 2 palettes left. We have at number 2 the Latte palette, and the reason this is number 2 and not number 1 is because this came out after my first palette, my number 1 palette, and I do absolutely love this palette. The packaging is gorgeous for this, but it's not my favourite, but it is by far one of my tops. I love the packaging. Again, I can't not say I love the packaging, because the packaging in these palettes is on point. It's got a lot of mattes in there compared to shimmers. It's a really like nice neutral everyday cooler tone kind of palette. It's got some nice, like this shade here called Venti, really nice cooler tone. That's on the floor. Berry kind of shade. It's really lovely. I love this palette. Oh my god, I nearly dropped the whole pile. It's good. You can really use this every day. You can deepen it up with this shade in the corner here. I think this is called Chocolate Mint, yep. For a nice night look, or you can use it for a day look. It's a very versatile kind of palette, but this had to come in at number 2. All right, number 1. We need a drum roll, don't we? Like, we need a drum roll. Maybe I'll add that in, maybe not. I'm not very technical savvy, but number 1 has to be the Original Coffee palette. This palette, okay, let me just show you the difference. Okay, Latte, that's the back. That is the back of Coffee. Coffee has got that duskier mauvey type of color. Mauve colors are my favorite, but this has the most mattes in a palette of all. Literally, you can get so many looks out of this. It's got the gold, it's got the bronze, it's got a red, like it's got all the shades I would need for a palette. And I do want to do that tag that Jodie tagged me in, if I only had 10 palettes, what I would choose. This is probably one of them. It's just one of those palettes that I would not use. I mean, there's not a shade in here I wouldn't use, and I've used this for work quite a lot. It's such a lovely color story, lovely packaging. It works really well, and ultimately is my favorite. The packaging is just that little bit more better than the Latte. I don't know why, it's just something that I lean towards. Maybe it is the color on the back. It's a bit more mauvey, mushroomy kind of color, and I just love this. It's my number 1, literally. To my knowledge, I own all the Tasty range, and I feel like there's 14. There is the Revolution Pooches range, but I didn't put that in here because even though it's the same packaging, when I typed up Tasty, the Revolution Pooches didn't come up, so I didn't put them in this video. But that is my top, not top, but like my number 14 to number 1 of my Tasty palettes. I've got BH coming up, I've got Colourpop coming up, I've got Be Perfect, I've got Morphe. I'm going to do all of them. So if you're really excited for this kind of series, this is the right place to be. Definitely subscribe down below, but I will catch you in my next one. Bye.